But I'm thankful to be here. This is parenting through developmental stages. And in preparing for this, I thought about all of the psychobabble and all of the jargon and the talk. And there's nothing that you cannot Google that we're not going to hear about developmental stages, okay? What I want to offer to you all today is being a parent through the developmental stages, not just parenting the children, but who am I as a parent through these stages, especially those of us who have these multi-family systems that the doctor spoke about earlier. That's a lot, and we all have that, especially those of us who are in the adoptive or fostering community. We could have any type of family situation going on, and we need to be able to maneuver and be successful, not lose it. And a lot of times parents don't get the recognition that they need. They don't get the support that they need. We come to these conferences and say, how do we parent these children? Okay, that's for the children. Who's helping the parent, right? Somebody sent me a message the other day and said, these kids are terrible because the parents are terrible. I said, well, hold on here now. Hold on, we're talking about human beings. All parents are not terrible. All parents are not, this just dysfunctional group running around trying to, make kids worse, is the scenario that I get sometimes, is whenever there's a bad kid, there's a bad parent. Whenever the school's out of whack, it's because the parents didn't do this. Or you all give yourselves a hand clap today. Give yourselves a hand clap real loud. Yes. Because in the fact that you are here on a Saturday morning shows that you are a good parent. And so I want to say I appreciate you being here. There are some things in your notebooks. You have, those little notepads. I want you to use those. I do not have a PowerPoint because I want you to listen to me and I want you to write things down. When you write it down, it does something to your brain and then it sticks, and we probably have some brain people here who can explain all that later, but it works. That's why we're told to write our visions down, write our ideas down, write our thoughts down, and writing them, gives you that transference, right? So why are you a parent? Write that down. Why are you a parent? Why did you choose that? And this is interactive. And there's no judgment here. We can be safe in this space for the next 50 minutes. Why are you a parent? Over here, my sound people, you guys are engaged. Why are you a parent? If you're not a parent, why do you want to be one? How were you parented? Did you come from a foster family? Did you come from a blended family? Did you come from the modern family? Were you coming from a grandparent family? How were you parented? Were you parented with kindness? Did the parent who parent you use harsh words? Were you parented, with a physical abuse? Were you parented with neglect? How were you parented? Were you parented with no boundaries and so you did whatever you wanted to do? Think about how you yourself were parented. Then say what was positive, what was negative. What was positive, what were areas that maybe my parent could have improved in, right? So I'll start with myself because that breaks it, will break the ice for you guys. I am a parent, first of all. I married into being a parent, right? My fiance, once I said yes, I knew that I would be a parent because he had 2 sons. That was not difficult for me to digest because of the dynamics of my family. A lot of people said, why would somebody 23 24 years old marry somebody 36 who already has 2 kids? And that, I don't know. I thought it was because it was love. It probably was. Right? I don't know. I told him the other day, what's love got to do with it? But anyway, you know how we say the body doesn't forget, right? We go through all these things in our brain and in our minds and things that happen to us, and the body doesn't forget. Our neurons remember all experiences. Well, my dad was 16 years older than my mom. My dad had 5 kids by 5 different women. They weren't together. Then she married somebody and had 2 kids, and they ended up breaking up. And so those 2 kids, my sisters, their dad was in and out and, you know, like around them and would pick them up and do this. So was it just usual? It was common for me to do the same thing, to say I'll marry this person with 2 kids? I don't know. And I never didn't dislike kids, but I really didn't like babies. And his kids were big. And so, and that came from the way I was parented. My mother would always pick up people's kids and stuff, but I would have to keep them. So I didn't want no babies. I didn't want to be around babies. I'm many years older than my sisters, and so I would be responsible for these children sometimes, and I didn't want to deal with that. So I was like, oh, he's got some kids. They're pretty good kids. They're fine, you know. And here you go. So after that, many years later, my bonus sons are grown. I have grandchildren. Well, we were in a situation with a family member, and we ended up taking that young child's baby when she said that she wanted to not be a parent. Oh, okay, well, we're not going to let that happen, so we end up with that baby, and he's now 7. So I have all these grown kids that have 7 years old. So I've never birthed any children, but I'm a parent. So why did I become a parent? It seemed like it was always placed before me. Did I have choices like, oh, I'm going to get married and have 7 kids? That was something that was never my thought process. How was I parented? You know, I did a lot of things that my mother did. I fussed and yelled and screamed and you better, and that kind of stuff. I learned over the years, like, ooh, I need to correct that. That's not the best thing, right? But then I also did things like work ethic, consistency. When I said something, I meant it. You know, those things that my mother had before us. So we have the positives and the areas of improvement. I'm losing this mic thing here, right? So think about, are you duplicating any of those things? Maybe I got it, I don't know. Are you duplicating any of those things from your parenting, how you were parented? Where do you see, ooh, I am just like my mother, even though we say, I'm never gonna be like her. And when you're 15, you're like, she's ugly. You know, all of these things. How are we duplicating that? What are your biggest fears about parenting? Write that down. What are your biggest fears about parenting? Think about that. I have a couple of clients who are dealing with some emotionally fragile children, young adults. I think it's okay now. And they just said, my biggest fear is I'm going to walk in and my kid's going to be dead. Oh, wow. Yeah. So they slack up parenting because I don't want to send them over the edge. I don't want to walk in and my kid's dead. How do we handle those situations, right? So we have these emotionally fragile children sometimes, or, you know, biggest fear and relief. I have a sick child, chronic illness. They have stage 4 brain cancer. They're going to die. I'm afraid of how I'm going to feel when that child dies, and I'm really feeling bad because I'm actually going to be relieved when they die because they're suffering right before me, and I can't do anything as their parent. What is your biggest fear as a parent? Oh man, I was molested as a child. My fear is that my child would be hurt, would be molested, that I cannot protect them. What is your biggest fear as a parent? And what do you do because of that fear? How do you try to control that child because of that fear? How do you helicopter parent? And you do everything for that child because you got to protect them and you got to make sure they don't make any mistakes. Or, I don't want my child to make a mistake and then people think I'm a bad parent. If my child does this, and that, then I'm the bad parent. Because what did I just say? People say, if you got a bad kid, you got a bad parent. And we know that's not always true. Especially as we go through these developmental stages, kids just do what they do. Think about what you did as a kid. I told a parent that the other day. I said, what did you do as a kid? Oh, you don't want to know. Okay, well, why are we mad at this kid? He's got to grow up too, right? In your life, did you fear or did you respect your parents? Right? We talk about kids not doing things, they don't listen to me. It used to be we could slap a kid around and they would listen to you and they would do this and that. Well, we're not slapping kids around. And I'm not here on that today. But did we fear our parents? Did we respect our parents? Was it both? Combination? I fear the spanking, but I respect who they are, the authority figure that they are. Do your children, if you ask them, would they say they fear you or they respect you? Because, see, this is where we're going to get into some developmental stuff. That respect starts developing down here, and that's why a mom can walk up to a 6'6", 16-year-old boy and say, "What did I say?" And he goes, "Yes, ma'am." Because that respect was built down here, right? I remember personal experience, my son, he's not very big, but he's a boy, he's stronger than me. And he was an adult. I wasn't beating on a kid. He was an adult. And you did what? Da-da-da-da-da-da. And he's sitting there like this because I'm screaming and yelling and I popped him on the head and he's sitting there like this. Knowing at any moment he could have just pushed me out the way, right? The respect that was there. And he's like, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am." And then I gave him a big old hug and, all of that. But I have seen these itty-bitty grandmas raising these big kids, and these children fall in line. Respect. Yeah. Even in respecting the position of the parent, laying that groundwork when they're young, right? We're going to talk about chronological age versus emotional age. He's 15 years old. He should know how to do blah, blah, blah. Well, first of all, who should know anything more than what they've been taught, right? Somebody could say, "I should know how to make a lasagna." Well, just because I'm this age doesn't mean that I should know how to make a lasagna. Nobody taught me. So when we say should, do we need to check ourselves as parents? Did I teach them that? Have I modeled that? Have I shown them that? If I'm a foster parent, did they get that training before they got to me? Well, at 15, surely you should know blah, blah, blah. But if I've experienced a certain amount of trauma, or I have cognitive disabilities, maybe I'm about 30% delayed emotionally, So I got to subtract that from my chronological age. So if I'm 15 and I'm minus 30%, I got to take 10 away, or 5 away about, so 10. So we wonder why the 15-year-old is having a tantrum and I can't do that, because that 10-year emotional thing is going on. So when we get to the ages of these developmental stages, let's be reminded that we might have some delays in that. And we have to be very mindful of that and be able to understand that we have to make adjustments because, we're the parents, we're the adults. And understanding that, who gave us a book, right? Before anybody had a child, did someone say, now, infancy and toddlerhood are ages 1 to 2, and this is what's going to happen? Did anybody did tell you that? They did? They told you that? You read the book. All right now. Right? Most of us didn't read the book. Or no one was sitting there to explain the book. When adolescence comes at 12 and kids kind of lose it, and we think like, what in the world happened? They were normal today and yesterday and today they're not. So, right? When brain development is going on, when sexual development is going on, all of these things that no one's really said before we had the baby, this is what you expect. We do this premarital counseling. I don't like that. When people come to me for premarital counseling, I say, if we get to a certain point and we see that we need to cancel this wedding, are we going to do that? Well, no. Okay, well, this isn't premarital counseling. So let's change that up and just give you some preparation for some things that may be to come, because you're already going to get married whether we do this or not. Pre-engagement counseling is what I like. So we can think about this before we even get the ring and the date. What if we did that about having kids? Whoa, let's study all of these stages before we even think about doing this thing. Because then we can at least be a little prepared or say, oh, this is what they meant. I'm not really a bad parent. They're just going through their developmental stages, right? You guys are not bad parents. When that thought comes in and it comes in to say, you didn't do this right and you didn't do this right and blah, blah. Who does anything perfect, right? And one thing we're going to talk about is apologize. When your children know that you can come to them as adults in charge, the head of the house, the bosses, and humble yourself and say, you know what? I didn't get that right. I did not get that right, and I am 100% sorry, and let's talk about this. That is huge. You're showing love unconditional. You're showing that you respect them at whatever stage they're at. You're showing how much communication is valued, right? And then you're teaching them that I can live in a society where people really are forgiving and people really do actually acknowledge and admit that they do have some flaws. Kids will not come to us when they feel like they're going to disappoint us. They don't care if you're mad. Is she mad? Oh, who cares? Whatever. They could care less. But to disappoint their parents, that's why they don't tell things. And you're saying, no, the door's open. Why didn't you tell me? You know you could talk to me. Well, if you've never apologized to them, if you've always been right, if you've always had this opinion of what they should be doing, when something really happens, then they're like, I can't disappoint them. Parents are like perfect. They've never done anything wrong. I can't make them feel like I'm a bad child, right? And so what do? They keep secrets. They hide things because we don't open that door up because we are, all of this. You're not bad parents. It's okay for you to apologize when you need to apologize. Right? It is okay. Actually, it's necessary. Helping build and modeling conflict resolution with your children. When you have a multitude of children, stop raising them all the same. I was facilitating a family session. These are older adults. They have grown children. I think the youngest child might have been 18 in the session. And, we're circle style and we're talking and, because it's all come to a head. This 35-year-old child is, because remember, we're parenting through the stages. Your kids grow up. You grow up. You keep getting older. They keep getting older. Huge family session. I love stuff like that, structural family therapy. Oh, who's the groups? Who's this? Who's what and what subset? Who's this? We're just having a good time. I am anyway. They're furious. And so finally, the parents, mom's just sitting there, tears streaming. The dad is like, mouth hanging open. He finally says, "Shut up. You guys were all raised the same. I bought all of you bikes at the same time, whether you needed them or not. Everybody got whatever they wanted for Christmas. Everybody got gifts. I worked overtime. I did. Shut up. You're ungrateful." I mean, he just lost it. "You're making your mother cry. You ungrateful kids." And he's just going. And I'm like, clinical heaven, this is my world. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is great. Right. And the kids are, oh, this and that, blah, blah. And he said, "I said it. I'll say it again. I raised you all the same. You're all crazy." And I said, "Dad, yeah, they're all different." "What do you mean?" What? It just like, you have 4 different children. They're all different ages. They all have different skill sets, which means they had whatever's in them now when they were young. But you forced them to all be raised the same, and now they're angry because you kept making them be the same. You didn't acknowledge who they were and help cultivate them as individuals. So be mindful of that as we're parenting and we're going through these stages. They're not all the same. I treat this one just like that one. Well, that one may not want what this one wanted. The same meaning they all have food, they all have shelter, they all have safety. They all have their needs met. I'm not going to go to your basketball game and go to this one's football game. Like, we're going to work that out, right? The same in equality, but you're parenting different people. This lady says, "Yeah, you got us all those stupid bikes. I already had a bike. I didn't need a new bike. I wanted to go," something that she wanted to do, and it cost money, and they told them they didn't have money to do it. So in her mind, "But you bought me a bike that I didn't need or want. You could have used that money on this activity that I wanted to do." But Dad was trying to keep them all the same. So really, he did have the money. He just wanted to keep them all the same. Well, he would have known had he done what? What's the word? Communicate it. Talk to your children. Ask them what they want. Ask them what they like. Right? Another story about family. Grown people. 7 kids. One of them says, "I got beat like a dog. They beat me so bad and blah, 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 and I hate them and da-da-da-da-da-da." The other one says, "So? Like, I would have rather been beat than my parents leave me. What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. Nobody wants to get beat on." And, "Well, at least they were there with you. They weren't there with me. They were gone by this time." What? Someone wants the quality time and love and affection of their parents so much, they would rather have them together in a volatile situation and be there with her as opposed to them being separated and then her being in a more peaceful environment, what we think is peaceful. And the same siblings of the same parents would say, no, being beaten is better than being separated from a family member. What? Because they're all different people. You don't know what your children want and need if you're not asking them, and if you're not intentionally and purposely going out and honing in on them as individuals. I don't have enough time in the day to do this, Miss Marla. I'm trying to give them all equal time. Why? Why? Why are you trying to give them all equal time? Especially if you got 10 kids. How are you going to give 10 kids equal time? How are you going to do it? Give them what they need, right? Do we all understand the whole love languages things? If you haven't, read the book. But they have the 5 love languages of children and of teens. Find out, make your kids take the test, find out what they like. I have an older son who is in the Marines. I went everywhere he was except for Iraq, and I was on the screen watching every time I could. He could care less if you buy him a birthday gift, Christmas gift, whatever. He'll take it, thank you, but that's not a big deal to him. If I say, oh, we're all coming down for your birthday and to be with you, he's like, what time you getting here? You ready? Blah, blah. It's all about quality time. It's all about being together. All about that. He calls me in the morning on his way to work. We talk. He talks to his dad. He talks to his bio mom. He's one of those family people that are just like that. That's number 2 son. He don't want to see you. He's like, what do you want? What you need? You better send him a card with some cash in it, and he'll be like, yeah, thanks. Really, birthdays, huge presents, biggest parties, graduation party. He had a DJ and a live band. I'm like, who does this, right? That's what he likes. He likes gifts. He likes attention. He likes those kind of things. But like sitting up under him all the time and going, he's like, whatever. Because it's not, but what if I force that on him? Well, I came to see you, and I didn't ask you to come see me. That $300 airplane ticket, you could have sent me in the mail. I already know that, so I just give it, you right? So we have to take care of people the way they need to be taken care of. Now, what does that do to the parent? Exhaust you. Exhaust you. Because you're like, okay, this one needs this, and this one needs this, and this one needs that. Okay, hold on. Those two actually like the same thing, so let me group them together, right? Kill 2 birds with 1 stone, right? Let me figure this out. It exhausts you. And this is why parents have to have time for parents. Parents have to say, I don't care what y'all little kids want right now. I got 25 minutes to be in here by myself, and you better not touch that door. Right? This is why parents need to say, if you're in a couples relationship, a together relationship, respite people, mama, daddy, grandma, sister, brother, whoever's coming to take care of these kids, you're going to need to get over here on Friday at 5 because we're peeling out at 5:02. We're out of here. You have to take that time and not feel guilty about it. Because if you're truly giving all of these people all of this, that's a lot out of you and their kids. It's not like they're trying to put back into you, right? They're kids. It's not like they're saying, oh, we need to take care of mom. She's so tired. Let's be quiet. They're not doing that. Dad just got home from work. He was grumpy. We're going to be extra nice, and we're going to make dinner for him and let mom go in and talk to him, or dad, mom, however it goes. No, they're not doing that, right? Developmentally, they're not even at the place to do that, right? So we have to be mindful of preparing time for ourselves, especially we're parenting large amounts of children. We're parenting children that maybe we didn't parent in the beginning, so they've been taught differently from our kids. All of this stuff we got to think about when we're parenting. So developmental stages, some people say there's 5, some people say there's 4. Oh, let's just talk about stage of kids, blah, blah, blah. But we parent forever. We parent until we die. My son is 36. I'm still parenting because it's different now. Hey, I think I want to buy a house. That's still parenting. That's still loving. That's still guiding. That's still providing wisdom. It's just different than, can you come pick me up from school? I broke my leg. It's different. So we're going to just 9 stages of lifespan, okay? And you can write those down. You have the prenatal development. So I threw a lot of just some basic stuff at you, but I want to make sure you get the content of what this class is really supposed to be about. So we have prenatal development. Do you think that you're parenting during prenatal development? How? Talk to me. How else? Anybody? Yeah, you're preparing. Yeah, but you're preparing because you're helping mom, right? So you still are involved. This emotional piece that someone over here said that the baby's taking on, also the physical piece, right? We need to eat well. We need to do things, exercise, whatever we need to do to make sure that our body stays healthy, that we're caring for this baby during the prenatal development, and we're caring for them environmentally, but we're preparing their room. I mean, does a baby come home and you just throw it on the floor? No. Right. So I would hope not, right? But even when people didn't have like cribs, they still prepared the dresser drawer, right? They prepared the basket. They prepared the box. Whatever their culture used at the time, there was a preparation. So I was still parenting even though the child is in the womb. Make sense? If you are pregnant or know someone pregnant and they need help with that aspect, we need to help them. We need to help them in any way that we can. I'm not saying we can go out and buy everybody a baby bed, but we can teach them, to get resources, to use the community that's out there. Hey, we can teach them to make a dresser drawer, whatever we got to do, right? But prenatal development is very important, very important. And if you're thinking long term, are we preparing for this person? Wow, what am I going to do if they want to go to school? What am I going to do if they want a car? Even the financial aspects of parenting, we should be thinking about through the developmental stages. Okay, so that's your prenatal. Then you have infancy through toddlerhood. I promise you I can spell. And so this, you want to go birth to 2. What happens right here? What's going on? Oh, Lord. Anybody? What's going on in this birth through 2? At extreme levels. Learning. Everything you do, they see and process in some kind of way, be it good or bad. And this is when we talk about trauma in children, is that people don't understand trauma goes into our body, and it's a whole nother topic, but your body remembers all experiences, good or bad, and is going to respond to it eventually. So those of you who foster children, if you've had children who've been in traumatized situations, and I'm going to tell you, you have, just the simple fact that you have them. Just the simple fact that they were removed. Even if it was that was a mistake. They're going back home in 2 days. It was false. Just the fact that they got removed, trauma. Okay? So we have to think about that and what's going on in the brain and the development and all, even a child. Well, this is a baby. They don't really, oh no, because remember prenatally, that baby was in a developmental stage and they knew their mama's voice and their daddy's voice or whomever was around, and they felt all of that, right? And so now they're in somebody else's care and their brain is trying to figure it out. They won't stop screaming because they don't know what's going on. So all they know to do is scream. So how do you parent through that? Patience, patience, patience. Fostering, if you already know you don't have patience, what are you fostering for? Because you're going to have more patience, right? So we got to be mindful of what situations we're in or that we put ourselves in even with parenting. Goes back to the first question I asked, why are you a parent? Why are you a parent? You got to think about that, right? Early childhood, 3 to 5, what's going on? What is it? They're still learning, but they're learning where? Yeah, you're 3 years old, you can go to preschool and Head Start and all this fun, cute stuff, and they learn how to fight, and they learn how to cuss, and all these things. You send them to Christian school, and they come back and still curse. You're like, what did I do wrong? Right? Parenting through these stages, you got to know that they're going to pick up and whatever everybody else says. That makes sense? You're not a bad parent because your little 5-year-old comes home and says, F you. I never said that in this house. Where did that come from? Picking up things. They're hearing things. They're seeing things. And you can say, well, I only send them to. They're with other children who only got sent to and only been here. And it's okay. This is when you learn to just gently correct the behavior. When you act crazy about it, it's going to continue because they like that reaction. When they're this young, they like all kinds of reactions. Like, oh, look at her, jumping around, all out of control, acting crazy. I'm going to say it again. Right? Hey, first of all, where'd you learn that word? Because we want to go talk to their parents. Right? But you don't say it like, who told you that? Where did you hear that? That's not going to get you anywhere because now they're afraid. What did I do wrong? I did something wrong. Right? So don't use that word. That's not a good word to use. Let's use this word instead. Let's say this. Let's not say that. Let's say this. You got to replace it with something. Right? So it's very important that we know they're picking up all kinds of things in these ages. Middle childhood, 6 to 11, what's going on? Huh? Yeah. Why are they confused? Why are they confused? They don't. Okay, so in middle childhood, you got more and more learning going on, more and more stuff happening, right? Think about what was happening with you when you were 13. 10. 10 years old. Can anybody remember when they were 10? No 10-year-old stories? I told y'all I can't do all the talking. We only got a few more minutes. Let's go. When I was 10, I was in the 5th grade. I was preparing to be in the 6th grade. And in 6th grade, I knew I wanted to be the service squad captain. So I was in service squad, and I was learning how to follow the rules and how to fold my belt and do everything right. Right, I was in elementary school, and I had all kinds of friends, and I was getting experiences that were impactful later on. Anybody have 10-year-old kids or raised a 10-year-old kid? No? Yes? What was your child doing at 10? Children's behaviors during this time, this early or a middle childhood, is typically related to school, learning, education, academic skills, sports. Our kids can play sports now, so they're learning teamwork, they're learning cooperation, right? Things that as we're parenting, we gotta be modeling this at home, okay? How do you get along with your brothers and your sisters? Well, if you could get along with your teammates, can't you get along with your siblings, right? If they're an only child, making sure that the attention doesn't become I, because it's so easy to do. It's just, because they're the only one there. It's easy to do. So how do you parent through that only child in this age thing, through that stage? Teach them to volunteer. They're too young. You're with them. How are they too young? You're not sitting them by themselves, right? Teach them to volunteer. Teach them to give back. Teach them to serve, right? Teaching them to help their grandparents if they have grandparents. Spending time with other people so that the attention does not become consistently focused on them. And then that's the expectation, is that it's always consistently focused on me, right? So it's things like that that are very helpful during that particular developmental stage, where you're able to help to expand them and help to get them more socialized and bigger view of just self. Because naturally, all kids are self-centered anyway. They don't, like I said, they're not worried about your work day. They're ready to eat. So it's very important. Adolescence, 12 to 19. Let's spend a few minutes right here. Anybody got any kids in adolescence? Yes? What's your name? Troy. How many children you have in adolescence?
Right now, 2.
Ooh, at the same time. Woo. Boys, girls?
Girls 18, boys 15.
You forgot. 8. Yeah, because they'll make you do that. 18 and 15. What are the differences?
Well, one's a girl, one's a boy, so that's
Right.
a huge difference, especially in adolescence. It resonates. This maybe not answer your question exactly, but what you said earlier resonates. How we have 4 biological children, 2 are even older than that, and they are all just amazing. We're not sure how they all came out of the same team. Sometimes we sit there
Yeah.
and baffles us. So it's hard to answer that question. How are they different? Because it seems like everything is different.
Yeah. So in adolescence, is the boy more different than the girl, or the girl more different than the boy, or are they just different? Did the girl do more different things? So adolescence with my boys was like, I want to drive the car, I want to do this, blah, blah, all this thing. Like, what are you doing? And I don't want to do this, and just kind of boisterous and then I have a goddaughter as well. Adolescence with her turning, you're trying to control me. I need this. And everything was crying and all of this emotion. And I'm just like, what is wrong with her, right? And I'm like, just give me the boys back. Give me the boys back. The girls I couldn't handle. I was like, oh, right? So they're all very different. But what's going on during these stages? Physical growth spurts, sexual maturation, right? Cognitive changes. Now we're thinking about, well, I can be a blah, blah, blah. I can do this. Possibilities become more aware during this developmental stage. So this is the stage when you really have to be encouraging and guiding and supporting, right? Positive development, positive language, positive, positive, positive. Not, you can't do that. You'll never make any money. You can't do that. Nobody goes into that career. You can't do that. Nobody. When they start hearing all of that during this particular age, this is the most impactful to how things will turn out in the future. Because like the doctor was saying this morning, she was talking all the time because that was her gift anyway. Well, people didn't know to cultivate that. When I was 12 years old, I wanted to be what I thought was a psychologist. I didn't know what counselor, therapy, I didn't know the language. I just knew that at 12, people would come to me and tell me their secrets. Marla, don't tell anybody this happened. At 12, I could separate myself and choose the best person to serve with me on the service squad as opposed to my better friend. At 12, when my grandmother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I wanted to know why she couldn't remember. I wanted to know what was going on with her in these stages. At 12, I had saved my money and bought a Psychology Today magazine because I was trying to read and figure stuff out, and it had a picture of the brain on it. When I said I want to be a psychologist, my middle class, working at the plant, no degreed, high school diploma family members were like, why? You'll never make any money. I'm like, well, if you help people, if you talk to people, well, you must going to be a psychiatrist because that's a doctor and they make money. Okay, well, I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to do that. I want to talk to people and help people. They probably didn't know the words of therapy, counselor, blah, blah, blah. All they knew is you got to make money. So don't do that. And I'm an 80s product, is by then, 70s baby. By then, we're talking 80s. What was going on? Silicon Valley, computers. You're going to go in computer science. Well, who wants to disappoint their family? So, okay, I'll go in computer science, even though I hate math and science, but okay. Wasn't cultivating what I was saying. Or if you don't know what I say, it's okay to apologize. It's okay to say, I don't know. You know what? I don't know about that. So let's research it together. Let's find out what, maybe your aspects could be or what prospects you have. That's how we parent through that, because now they're thinking of everything, and their talents are coming out, and some passions are coming out. I worked with a leadership youth South Bend group, and you had juniors in high school who were writing letters to Congress about bills, and I'm like, where'd these kids come from? I didn't even know what a bill was. I just passed a class, But to write and challenge Congress at 16 years old, these people need to be definitely nurtured, and the parent doesn't know, hey, you know what, I don't know. Let's do it together. Let's find out. It's very important in adolescence because they're so confused. Someone said confused in the earlier age. They're really confused in adolescence because I'm not an adult, but I'm not a kid. My body looks like a grown man, but I can't take care of myself, My body is producing and behaving like a woman, but what can I do with it? Nothing, right? Or if I'm not taught the right way, I can do a whole lot with it. Yeah? I had a client, he was 14 years old, he had 4 kids. Yeah. Well, who taught him at 12 how all that works, right? So we want to be very mindful that parenting during adolescence, you need to give yourself a lot of date nights, a lot of respite care, breaks, it's okay, and be prepared to roll your sleeves up and fight for your children. Adolescence is the fighting developmental stage. Adolescence is not the stage where we're woo, 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 and oh, my baby, and never mind, I'll do it for you. Adolescence is when we roll our sleeves up and we fight for our children because the world is out there influencing them, social media, school, teachers, all types of things. But if we have done it down here, built this foundation, their struggle, because they're going to struggle, it's a part of the developmental stage, their struggle then becomes, oh, I'm in this cocoon because I'm going to be the butterfly coming out, right? So it's very important that you know they're just in that cocoon, they're in a metamorphosis, you're in the cocoon fighting with them. We're all going to come out better in the end, okay? Early adulthood, 20s to 35. Look at who 35 thought they were early adulthood. You are. Early adulthoods, 20s to 35s. Questions are now coming. And if we've built this relationship here that they trust us, that we've been consistent in what we say and what we do, when they have questions, don't always force your opinion, parents, on a 21-year-old. You need to do this. You don't know anything. Da, 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 da. You don't. I always tell them, you don't even have frontal lobe development. You can't even think. Let them come to you. Let them make mistakes. Let them make errors. That's how they learn, right? Nelson Mandela said, I do not fail, I learn. If you don't screw it up, how do you know what to do right? And because they screw it up, don't be there all on their back. I told you. They already know you told them. They don't need you to reiterate it. They already know. They're already saying, God, Dad told me this, blah, blah. Dad just needs to say, hey, what do you need me to do? How can I help you out? What'd you learn from it? You're good to go. Those 20s to 35-ish, you all know if you're past that age, that's a difficult time. And if you're doing it with blended family and married and, fostering, adopting, and all of these extra things and all of these family systems that the doctor talked about this morning, all of that, and you're still that young and you're trying to bring all that in, give yourself a break. Breathe deep. And parent with your sleeves rolled up. Fighting times in adolescence, early adulthood, you got to be parenting in a way that you're still fighting for them, but you're on the sideline. I'm here for you, okay? Oh, now I'm 60 and I got a 50 or whatever you are, and I got a middle adulthood, 36 to 64. When I found out I was middle-aged, I cried. I was like, I'm middle-aged? What? 36 to 64, and by now we are older parents. And during this time, middle adulthood, you should be enjoying your children, right? You should be enjoying your children, and to the point where you are possibly enjoying your grandchildren. You're not taking over and telling your children how to raise their children. You're just being a grandparent. You're not doing it right. I didn't do you like that, blah, blah. Grandparent syndrome is real. We all forget what we did wrong when we were parents, and we all forget that kids don't need sugar after 7 o'clock. Let your children raise their children. And as we go into late adulthood ourselves, which is 65 and has now advanced to 100 due to medical advancements and different things that we know about caring for ourselves, we can live so long, and our children are right there with us, being our friends. Then, they're not our friends now, right? You have to know the difference. This is an evolving system. Parenting evolves. When people tell me, oh, my daughter's my best friend, I'm like, she's 12. Why would you need a 12-year-old to be your friend? That doesn't make sense. And then when the daughter doesn't do what she says, you get mad. I said, well, why would she do it? She said she doesn't do what her 12-year-old friend says. Why should you have to do what you say? Well, that's different. No. Don't be confusing the child. Either you're her parent or you're her friend. Well, I just want her to know that she can talk to me about anything. Well, just say that. I'm your parent and you can talk to me about anything. Don't say I'm your, in order to do that, though, we have to be friends. Because now we're causing all kinds of conflict. Because again, I don't do what my other 12-year-old friend says. I don't want to. So let's make sure that we understand those boundaries and all of that. And then again, you will enjoy the friendship of your adult children. Does anybody have any questions? And we have 5 minutes. Yes, ma'am. What's your name? Fani?
Yes. I really like what you said about how parenting evolves, and then parents when they're young, but then as they get older, you become more of a friend. And I know everyone's different, every child is different, but when does that, on average, when does that friend role come in?
So you're talking about the evolution of the relationship. So it depends on how the relationship has been established. Some people, it's longer because they've had to work through hurts, pains, whatever, and eventually they get to the point where they can say, wow, Mom, let's go to lunch, let's have fun, let's take a trip, let's do this. Respect has to be there always, respecting the position of I'm still your mom, but I'm not parenting over you and lording over you and watching everything you do and having an opinion of it, right? If I'm 50 and my mom's 70, the respect of that's the mom is there. I've seen people really develop relationships young though. Like, they're 30, their mom's 50, they kind of smooth through it, but that respect is still there, right? Of I know you're my mom, but we can really get along well. So it's very depending upon the personalities of the people, the things that they've been through. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. What is your name? Kimberly?
So there's a lot of things you've said that I appreciate, because I feel like society has its own way of saying, you're a good parent or not. In other words, its own approval of you being a good parent. One of the things, I have twin daughters, they're 6. So I feel
God bless you. God bless you.
I know, and my question is, I feel like I'm tired a lot most of the times.
Yeah.
And I wonder sometimes, how do I not let my kids see me as, probably lazy or not progressive or industrious as I should be? Because they're always pumped and, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's one of my struggles mostly at this point.
Are those your only children?
They are, and I'm keeping it that way.
Okay. So and first of all, they're 6. They're supposed to be pumped and full of energy, right?
Which I appreciate.
Communication, ma'am. Just tell them, hey, mom's not 6. Mom's tired, and give them some boundaries. During this time, we will play this. During that time, this. But sometimes parents have to take a break because we're older, we have more things to do than just play. Just communication, just talk to them, and don't feel guilty about parenting.
Okay.
I was talking to you, doctor. Yeah. We're 11:08. We want to end. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have one question here? Yeah. No, go ahead. Oh, okay. Anybody before we're done? One more? We're good? All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope I answered the questions that we did have and that you guys were able to take back some positive things for parenting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. They'll